I want to share with you guys something that I've kind of been processing the last couple of days. I really believe that it will be beneficial to you, encourage you, maybe help you to navigate some questions that you've probably had in the past, um, helped answer some of my questions, gave me a new perspective on how to kind of address some things that has happened in my past. And I am sure that some of you watching this have had to navigate as well. So I was listening to this podcast the other day, and this individual that was sharing on the podcast shared some of his testimony um, that I could definitely relate to. You know, as he was sharing it, I was really intrigued, and obviously he had my ears. I was fully engaged and fully listening. And he has made it a point in his life personally to see a therapist on a regular basis. He is a person of faith, and he sees a Christian therapist. And his therapist that he was seeing was helping him navigate some of his early childhood and some of the things that he had to face and overcome and deal with. And this one particular session that he was having with his therapist, they were addressing when he was sexually molested as a young kid. And they were talking about it, working through it. And I'm just paraphrasing a lot of this. So his therapist asked him to close his eyes. And he asked him specifically, where do you think God was while this was happening to you, while he was being sexually molested as a young kid? And that's a very strong question to ask someone. And he said he was there. He was there with me. And his therapist just kind of rebuked him and got on to him. He said, no, he said, where was he? Where was God while this was happening to you? And he started thinking about it more. He just didn't know how to answer. And he finally said, he was in me. And he had a breakthrough in that moment that some of you, and I personally had, and some of you need to have as well. You know, we know that scripture very well. He'll never leave us, nor forsake us. We know that he's always with us. But I think one thing that we have a tendency to overlook and kind of forget is that in those moments that we have encountered abuse, that we've been through abuse, that certain things were being said to us, certain things were being done to us, certain people, lashed out on us. Like, it wasn't just being done to us. It was also being done to him. And we have a tendency to forget that. Like, he just wasn't just with you. Like, it was also being done to him. And when you look at it that way, I was just walking a few moments ago, and I was thinking, it's the same way with Jesus and how he was sacrificed, and how he went through the crucifixion, and just God just was not just there, but he was also experiencing that pain as well. He didn't leave Jesus. He didn't forsake Jesus. Jesus obviously had to go through that. But you think about the people that were actually doing those things to him, crucifying him and beating him and nailing him to the cross. Those people are also broken as well. And that's another perspective we have a tendency to overlook, that a lot of people have a tendency to hurt others in the midst of their brokenness. And there are things have been done to you, said to you, things that you have faced, things that you have dealt with, that you've had to navigate because people were in the midst of their brokenness. So we got to keep in mind obviously that God never leaves us nor has forsaken us. He won't. But he's not just there with you. He's also going through it as well. He's also facing it as well. It's also being done to him. You know, it's not easy to navigate some of the things that we have to navigate in life. And one of the questions that we oftentimes have is, where was God in the midst of this? Like, God, were you even there? And he was. He was not just there, but he was also going through it with you. It was also being done to him. It was also done to him. So I want to encourage you, you know, if you're a victim of abuse, whatever kind of abuse, physically, emotionally, sexually, mentally, I mean, if you've been through some things, you're navigating through some things, and in the midst of those things, you're even just reflecting on those things, just wondering where was God in the midst of it all? He was there, and he also went through it. He also went through it. And that kind of helped me to process things a little bit too. That just as much as I was hurting, or just as much as I hated that situation, he did as well. And I need to make sure that I continue to process it. I continue to address it as it needs to be addressed, that I don't ignore it, that I deal with it, extend mercy, some grace, some love, and I'm not alone. Neither are you. So I want to encourage you, you know, I'm a firm believer that you do need to talk about things, you do need to process things, and you need to have someone to help you navigate some things in life, and don't just hold on to it. Be sure to find someone that you could trust, that will be an encouragement, sometimes even just a listening ear. Not someone that is always trying to fix things per se, but even awaken you, that knows how to ask questions, that knows how to really speak life and encourage you. Make sure you have someone like that in your life. If it's your spouse, great. If it's a therapist, that's even better, right? I'm hoping that eventually one day I'll be able to do that on a regular basis. I'm just not at a place right now where I can. But I do have people in my life that I can confide in and trust in and help me process things. So, no, we're here for you. We love you guys. We believe in you guys. And just know that if you have those questions, like where was he? You know, was he there? How could he allow that to happen? He was there. And he was also experiencing the same emotions, the same things that you were experiencing, and it was hurting him just as much. He's not left you. He's not forsaken you. He loves you. He cares for you. And he's always there. And one day at a time. And be careful to hold on to that bitterness, that resentment, that anger, that unforgiveness, because it's not going to get better if you do. And it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. But you've got to make sure that you're doing the internal work, mentally and spiritually, to kind of help you navigate those things. So, here for you, rooting for you, believing the best for all of you. And you're not alone. You're not alone.